The way of the reliant. We are the reliant. We learn so that we may teach. We plan for adversity and cherish the privilege. We endeavor to master our emotions, embracing rational thought. We are not controlled by fear. We are not controlled by rage. We are not driven by greed. We are perpetually optimistic. We work tirelessly. Honor, virtue, humility, truth, and justice are what we strive for. Each of us provides for another and never just for ourselves. When others are surrounded by the darkness, we are the light to guide them. We are the reliant.
What's up, YouTube? It's your boy, Angry Jackalope, Robert R. Ricks. What's up, Evan? How you doing, brother? Thank you. Hello to your family, too. All right, guys, as this one is called Code of Love. So you just saw the intro to, with a reliant code displayed to you. Getting closer. Come here. So let's have a quick little powwow, because it occurs to me, human beings, we have a tendency to want to do different things. Some people call it worship, some people call it following the rules, things of that nature. We're going to talk about code, internal code, the code that defines us collectively as well as the code of the individual. And I want to focus on the individual because I think society benefits as a whole when each of its members have a solid moral code that they follow, which is one of the reasons that I am in some ways a fan and proponent of some form of religion or code, because I think, in my opinion, codes help us define rules of engagements and things of that nature. What's up, Paula? What's up, Jaron? So, for example, we did a video not too long ago where we went through a lot of different codes. We went through Code of Bushido. We went and looked at Satanists. We looked at Luciferians. We looked at Christians. We looked at a lot of different groups. And as we did, we saw some parallels and some overlaps. And so I wanted to introduce the core concept that I am working on in a new book. And this one is kind of a book about your heart. Because a lot of times the code that we follow stems from our feelings, from our heart. And in our heart, we intimately know right and wrong. Well, Paula, I hope you feel better. What's up, Tinch? So, really, Ukes? You gotta grumble like that? Let's not grumble, okay? Let's be happy, shall we? I have some people that I'm working with, for example, that were pulled to the dark side. And they were rolling with the dark side and everything else. And we talked, and I give you, I look at that and say, okay, you know what? Even though you are quote unquote with the dark side, you still have a set of rules and tenets that you follow. Hey, what's up, Kenneth? The rules and tenets that you follow act as your guiding principles. And these are things that we tell ourselves on a regular basis. And the things that we say to ourselves over and over and over tend to define our reality. And they're very, very important. So we want to make sure what we're telling ourselves over and over and over and over and over are good. That's why I came up with this code of love. And really what it is instead of following other people's tenets and other people's philosophies and everything else, I propose that each of you, in addition to whatever else you have, you define your own sets of codes. These are your codes of honor. These are your codes of engagement, whatever you want to call it. This is what you're going to use on a day-to-day basis to live your life. And there is an easy way for you to discern in your mind if the code that you're going to follow is a quote unquote righteous code. And what I mean by righteous is just a code that's not going to hurt another person or cause problems with them and would allow society to continue to function at a baseline level. So, what I mean is, you take a code and you lay it against the concept of love and say, would this code exist within the constraints of love? Here's an example. Murder. I will not murder. Okay, does that fall within the realm of love? Yes. Yes, indeed it does. Because if you're not running around murdering people, well, then guess what? You're not hurting another person. You're not causing problems within society. You can still operate from a position of love, and you can still be a positive vibrational person. That's a good tenet. That's a good code to follow. Okay. Now, I will not kill. Well, killing and murdering are two different things. So, for example, technically speaking, if you're in the backyard weeding, which I just was, which is I look really kind of tired and everything else, isn't that a form of murder? Killing. Killing the plant. I'm grabbing a plant and killing the plant. So you have to have some form of definition within the construct of killing, murder. What constitutes murder? What constitutes killing? So if you say I will not kill, well, now you are very, very, very specific, and there is no gray areas, and there is no justification. I go out and I pull a plant, I kill it. Well, I'm killing a plant. Well, I need food, and I need to kill a cow to get its meat. Well, you're in violation of that code. But if you say murder, murder also implies malice. It also implies intent to do harm. Intent to do something to another person, murder. Okay. If you say kill, well, now you're backing yourself into a corner, because what happens if you have to defend yourself? And in the process of defending yourself against a person who's trying to murder you, you lash at the person, they fall and get hurt and they die. Well, you killed that person. So when you're creating your code, you want to be very, very specific, and you kind of want to think it through. And that's why this is a very valuable exercise in creating your own code. You'll see a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about going forward is from the positioning of being an objective creator. Okay, you're going to be creating a whole lot of different things. But in the process of creating, you are going to learn a lot about yourself, and you're also going to learn a lot about the words and things that we use on a day-to-day basis without really thinking about them. When you say, I love something. Okay, well, define your love, right? That's another word that gets tossed around willy-nilly without letting the full gravity of the word sink in. Hate, those are different things. So there could be some very simple code. One of my baseline codes that I live by, and it's a very simple one. Don't start no shit, won't be no shit. Does that fall under the litmus test of love? Don't start anything, there won't be anything. Yes, what it means is, I'm going to live and love and be happy, and I'm not going to go looking for trouble. But if trouble comes looking for me, I love myself enough to be able to defend myself against somebody who is trying to do something bad against me. So yes, that does indeed pass the love test. So that's the base concept here. That is the base concept. It's a very simple thing. Code of love. And I invite you guys to sit down and think about this, because a man, woman, child, whoever, sentient being, a man who follows a code has a code by which to live and compare his life to. And I think it's a very, very good thing, because some of the code that you do could be something as simple as every day give thanks to the things that matter the most. Does that pass the love test? Most definitely. Because gratitude and being thankful, you are acknowledging the gift of something and you were saying thank you. That is one of the baseline conditional things of love. You could just acknowledge somebody's effort or something's effort and or something's ability. So let's say, for example, it's a plant. Some people look at a plant and say a plant's not a big deal, but you're eating a tomato or you're eating something else that is derived from a plant, and you're just sitting there and saying, okay, and you're consuming it, but you're not acknowledging it. You're not giving it the proper status in life to give it, to acknowledge its sacrifice. Because we are surrounded by living things, and we consume a lot of things from living things on a regular basis, and we never give it a lot of thought. We never give it a lot of thought. And that's kind of the whole part of this that is important, is to give thought and consideration to the things around us, because there's a lot. And as you create your code, you're going to have a lot of fun with it, because now you'll feel kind of like a samurai with your own personal code that you follow. And it's also liberating, because now you answer to nobody but yourself as far as following your personal code. Now, again, I'm not saying if you're a religious person to give up your religious tenets, but what I'm saying is, in addition to those tenets, or if you are in part of a religious sect or organization that you felt outside of and you didn't feel kindred connection to, and you just want to be a sovereign being following your own path, create your own code. You need a code. And I do understand what I just said there. You do need a code, because codes are what keep us from becoming base animals. We know in our heart of hearts what's right and what's wrong. The problem with a lot of us is we don't have a code by which we live. We just live. And without a code, that's a problem. What's up, Simicom? How's it going, brother? Codes are important, people. And you want to have your own that you define out. And it could be simple. I just gave you mine. Mine is very simple, succinct. Don't start no shit, won't be no shit. And that kind of sums up the base belief system that I have. I'm not going to go run around causing shit. I'm not going to hurt people inadvertently. I'm going to be mindful of all the things around me. I'm always going to pay attention and see what is and isn't. I'm going to try to use my discernment to make sure that I'm constantly learning. I'm never going to be rigid. I'm always going to be open to other people's thoughts, but just because I'm open to listen to other people's thoughts doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to adopt them or take them. I am a student, and I am constantly learning. And as such, I share with you guys. But at no point am I ever a teacher. At no point am I ever a guru. At no point am I ever a leader. And the minute that anybody ever does that, they're bad. Because I won't acknowledge that. I will not say, yes, indeed, I am your leader, or I am your teacher, or I am whatever. I am a student that is vocalizing and articulating things that I come across in a way to help fellow students study for the test. That's the way I look at it. Simicon says, my code is the code of embracing the suck. That's not bad. Really, if you stop and think about it, if you stop and think about the fact that human beings are very special in that we can decide how we feel about a given situation when it happens in real time. So, my car breaks, I'm stuck. That is a shitty, sucky situation. Thus, if we follow Simicon's embracing the suck, it is what it is. Fine. Okay, I got a problem. Let's solve this fucking problem. Right? So, by him having a tenet in his mind, embracing the suck, he has chosen to set his mindset in such a way that there is no adversity that comes to him that is going to defeat him. He's basically going to take any situation that pops off, analyze it, figure out a thing, embrace the suck, and handle business. Right? That's not a bad tenet at all. Does it follow the love test? Let's see. Embrace the suck. Well, car broke. I could yell and scream and get mad and be fucking negative to the world around me, but I choose instead to be optimistic and solve the problem, not causing problems to people around me and being a positive example for others to look at. Yes, that passes the love test. So that's how you can figure out in your own personal lives what code that you have, or that whatever belief system you subscribe to has tenets in it that pass the love test. You could use that to look and see if it passes a primary consideration of human beings, understanding the fact that human beings crave, need, and want love. So if you live by a code that has love as the focal point of definition, you'll probably be okay. You probably won't cause problems with any other aspects of society, at least any aspects of society that is moral and just. Now, if you come to odds with a group of people because you're living in love and you're following a code that doesn't hurt anybody but actually inadvertently helps society as a whole, well, now you're dealing with a morally bankrupt group that is probably not looking out for your well-being or your interests. So, anyway. Well, I'm going to yell, all right, but at least I'll be yelling and pushing forward at the same time. Yeah, well, that's right now. But as we continue this journey and you start learning how to master yourself, you probably won't be yelling too much. You probably won't. Because the reality is the situation will pop off and you'll look at it and see it for the benefit that it is. A lot of times things will look bad, but they are actually blessings in disguise. I read something the other day that really put things in perspective for me. And I was like, holy shit, I didn't think about that. I was doing some research on tarot, and there was a thing that was talking about the sacred fall or something like that, where Adam and Eve got booted out of the Garden of Eden. And on a surface level, that was a horrible thing. You know, humanity was booted from paradise. But in getting booted from paradise, that was a catalyst to bring about Jesus Christ. And in Jesus Christ coming and doing his thing, allowed for human beings to rise to another frequency level, to another vibrational state that was not inherently there at the very beginning. I thought about that. I was like, fuck, I never really thought about it in that way. But that's an interesting point of view nonetheless. So you had to fall from grace by falling from grace and then having the original sin and all this other stuff. But having Jesus come to remove the core concept of the original sin, and then being able to have the ability to rise to another vibrational frequency, which is not in the Bible, but is still part of the overall equation, is very interesting. It's very interesting. And I thought, damn, that's cool. And that's one of the things that you guys will find as you start to open your mind and look around and read different things and thinking stuff. So your mind has to be receptive for change. Change is going to happen no matter what. But profound, rapid change in a way that will impact your life in a positive manner requires a little bit of mental discipline, a little bit of acceptance, and your heart has to open up as well. Some people in religious circles will say, you have to open your heart to allow Jesus in. It's a very similar concept to quantum type stuff. If you subscribe to the core concepts of ascended masters or other entities that are around to help out, let's just say angels. We'll take angels as an example. Angels can't help you unless you open yourself and say something like, Heavenly Father, let the angels come and help me, right? And so then you're like, okay, Heavenly Father, I need some angels to help me out. By you stating that, you're saying you are in a receptive state, and then if there is something that's going to happen, now it's going to happen. Demons operate in a different way. By you being afraid or you being in a fearful state, that is a state of acceptance. Let's say, for example, you're fucking around with the Ouija board and you get scared. well, you're inadvertently, by the power of your mind and your fear, creating something not good. And that's what a lot of people are not understanding is our minds are able to create. That's why the core catalyst of most of my discussions and most of the new material that I'm writing is from the point of view of you being the objective creator that can actually create in your mind and in your reality things that you want in the future. Now, this is not magic. This is not saying, oh, I'm going to wish to be a millionaire and it's going to miraculously happen. No, effort is always required to get to the end result. There's a lot of things in the Bible that's actually coded messages, which I find intriguing. One of the ones that I like is God helps those who help themselves. And I've always kind of quoted that and referenced it, but I've been thinking about that a lot lately. And I think what it basically means is as you proceed forward and you start to imagine yourself in the future and you start to say, this is by my definition where I want to be, and you talk about it and you fantasize about it in your mind and in your imagination, and every day you work towards that goal, it's my profound belief that if you are sincere in your heart and your brain and your heart are aligned and you continually feed that subconscious mind of yours, that magical motherfucker, you feed it with everything that you want, then you will get into that future self. And it's not magic. It's not magic at all. It's a combination of quantum and belief. The belief is extremely hard because we have been taught to believe in failure. I think I just saw something from Paul. I think I saw something float on my screen there from Paul. I think he did a donation. If you did, thank you, Paul. I appreciate the fuck out of that. You guys really don't have to give me anything. I'd love you guys, and I'm only sharing this with you guys so that you guys can go along on this journey with me and reap the rewards, because the elite do it. The rich people understand this shit. They understand the hell out of it, and they leverage it. You can read books by Napoleon Hill who talks about Carnegie, and these are things that Carnegie explained to him. This is back in the early 1900s. You can go back even further. We are benefiting from the fact that all of the information is already available to us. But most people don't do the due diligence or the research. And most people just don't believe in success. If I tell you you're going to try something, you're going to walk down the street, you're going to trip and fall, you're probably going to believe that. You're going to be like, oh, well, yeah, it could happen. You know, I'm kind of klutzy. No, I'm not. You see what I did there? I said something, but then I corrected it. Because our subconscious does not understand when we're joking. That's a very important thing, and I will repeat that over and over and over as we do these things. Be very mindful of your thoughts and your words. Be very careful what you think and say about yourself. But one of the things that's super important is if I say you're going to walk down the street, you're going to see a $100 bill, and you're going to pick it up, you're like, yeah, right. You're instantly going to deny it. You're instantly going to fight against me and say that's not going to happen. That's not possible. Because it's harder for you to believe in success than it is to believe in failure, which is really funny because human beings are all about success via failure. When you're learning how to walk, that was not an instantaneous process. If you learned how to ride a bike, that was not an instantaneous process. Anything that we do on a regular basis was a learning curve attached to it at some point. By you learning and failing and learning and failing and learning and failing, you eventually get to success. That's why you should always be in your mind, motherfucker, I succeed all the time. But society does not want you to embrace that core thought, because then if the world was filled of a bunch of really positive-minded motherfuckers always succeeding, always happy, always pushing themselves beyond the normal, can you imagine what an amazing, crazy fucking world this would be? But no, they don't want that. They want you to be subservient slaves, to listen to whatever they say, to be the cogs in the fucking wheels, to do everything they fucking tell you and order you, because they want slaves. So they have indoctrinated. They use tactics repeatedly on TV, social media, the interwebs, everything to convince you of the fact that you are not special at all. And then whenever somebody in a new age movement or something else comes and tells you stuff, they're ridiculed. And you look at that like, give me a fucking break. That's retarded. These guys are fucking tree hugging, fucking hippie, whatever, blah, blah, blahs. Okay, fine. But a lot of those tree hugging hippie motherfuckers are pretty goddamn happy. And I look at them going, well, they're pretty fucking happy. They don't seem to be bothered by this other shit. Maybe there is something to them. You find that also with very, very uber religious people. The problem that most people have is the things we fixate on, the things that we think are important, they're really not. They're really not. We were convinced they were important, but they're really not. And the other thing that people always fail to understand is you have a choice over everything. Well, Rob, come on, that's bullshit. I don't have control over how much money I have to pay for my rent and blah, blah, blah. True. But you do have control over how that situation will be a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. If you don't like something, why the fuck are you going to stay in that situation? Start making moves to get the fuck out of that situation. Because nothing happens instantaneously. Everything requires work. So if you find yourself in a situation that you're not happy with, and then 5 years later you're in that same situation, I don't feel bad for you. I do not. Because you sat for 5 fucking years complaining about it, telling the universe you want more of it because you're sitting there complaining over and over and over, instead of complaining. Maybe be receptive, ask a question to your peer group. Hey, I don't like the situation I'm in. I can't seem to find a solution. What do you guys think would be good for me to figure out a way to get out of this situation? Well, what? Ask somebody else for their opinion on how to get out of my situation? Huh. That's kind of an interesting concept. Because I just said 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 years from now. But you're not willing to invest in that, then you don't deserve it. If you're not willing to invest in yourself, then guess what that tells me? You don't care about yourself. If you don't care about yourself, there's nothing I can say that's going to make that better. So the first thing you got to do is start learning how to care for yourself. Once you learn how to care for yourself and you start to create that code and you start to live by that code, and you start to try to find a baseline level of excellence that you will live by and you will not accept anything less, and you start to introduce what's called discipline into your day-to-day life, then things start to change. I mean, what do you have to lose? If you're already miserable right now and you're like, I hate this shit, then change it. It's not magic. It just requires you to be disciplined, get your mind right, stop insulting yourself, stop with the negativity, start focusing on the things that you're grateful for, fill your life with all of the positive. Remember the other core rule, if you have shitty friends, you're going to have shitty life. If you have good friends, you're going to have a good life. Start finding people that challenge you, that make you think, that make you work. And then you're going to have a better life. You know, Sumikan was saying, embrace the suck. Well, the only way to embrace the suck is to live life. Because if you're not living life, you're not being challenged. You're not being presented with situations that other people might say suck. But you might say, wow, that's fucking cool. Let's handle this shit. So a lot of it is your mindset, what you think, what you do, and that's it. Period. Let's see here. What's up? Thoughts on ZU blades? I don't know what ZU blades are. What is that? I just saw a company the other day that I really like called, it was a pirate name. It wasn't Swashbuckle. It was, Scallywags, I think. Scallywags blade. They had some really interesting blades that I liked. I was like, ooh, I like those. I think I'll pick some of those up. But no, I don't know what a ZU blade is. I don't think I do anyway. Simicon, people forget how easy it is to let go of the walls and restrictions that they put up themselves. We choose to chain ourselves to certain things, but all the while, we have the key. Yeah. Pretty much. Suck. Brian. Yeah, look. I have, I'm using, so you're using, the walls and stuff, right? So I have an analogy that's very similar to that. I call it the brick series. And what it is every time we make a decision that limits us, we create this metaphysical mental brick that lives in our subconscious, and they start to weigh us down. We start to create walls. We start to create towers. We start to really just imprison ourselves. But the reality is we created those. Let that sink in. We create the things that limit us. We live in our past. We allow things to control us that really should not control us. And then we sit and wonder why our lives are the way they are. I have been working through tons of things. I have no more daddy issues. I have no more problems with the whole monarch situation as far as my acceptance of it and understanding what I went through. I have no more problems with insecurities. I don't judge as much as I used to. I'm still working through it for the most part. There are some times where I catch myself and go, oh, okay. And one of the big things, a big gigantic thing is, I don't tear myself down anymore. I don't do it. I don't even practice self-deprecation for laughs. I won't do it anymore. Karen says the book I should read is The Tao of Physics. I may have that book. I might have to go back and look. That sounds familiar to me. I'll double check. I may have that book. I have been reading a lot of fucking books lately. A lot of books. It's crazy. But that's also the other thing that's important, is always expanding your mind and looking around for new things to understand. Because most of the things that are important in life are not necessarily outside. They're inside of us. Inside of our heart, inside of our mind, inside of our energetic selves. I use that generic term because some people kind of turned off whenever I say things like soul or spirit or whatever. So if I say the energetic self, that's what I'm referring to. And you can almost say the energetic true self, because that's what we are. We're energy living inside of a meat bag. But this is glorious, guys. I mean, the life we live is a crazy game. And I was telling my son, the more I look at this and the more I realize it's a game, I get excited. Because I'm a gamer. I love to play games. I love it. And then if this world we live in has cheat codes and we can find the cheat codes, fucking A. Put me in creative mode. Fuck the survival mode shit. So I just had to refresh. There was a stream error. I think you triggered something in yeah, probably. 222 blood sugar from 111 at 12 p.m. 222 blood sugar from 111. I don't know what that means, Paula. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't think that's good, though. That sounds like that's a bad thing. Paula, you might want to start trying to practice in your mind over and over and over, describing yourself, describing the health conditions you'd like to have, and then start practicing things where you don't play the slave role. You have these addictions that are defining you and basically killing you. And so you have to make a conscious decision. Do you want to live or do you want to die? Because that's it. Honestly, I think one of the biggest problems with people today is that they have lost their inner child, and problems with that is your inner child is your core or foundation, if you will. Yes, the inner child is amazing. You want to be just like that. You want to be a kid. That's why in the old days, people used to tell me, Rob, you're like a big kid. And at first, I used to be really upset about that. Now, I'm like, fuck, thank God. Thank God I still have a kid in me. Thank God I still want to wander and explore and find things and be amazed and go, ooh, that's magical. We need that. You need to be a fool. I just finished researching the first major arcana tarot card, the Fool. And upon initial examination of that card, you see like a clown, a jester, blah, 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 right? It turns out that card is very deep. It's a very deep card. And inadvertently, I found out I have a lot of characteristics of the Fool. That's not a bad thing, guys. You really want to embrace odd, weird, funny, and fill your life with joy. Why be miserable? Why suffer? Why choose that? Why say, oh yeah, I deserve this? Why? Why do you deserve it? Why do you want that shit? So you could take Simacon's his expression in the other direction and say embrace the suck means that you are pulling the suck to you. You're embracing it and you're saying give me more, give me more, give me more, which is kind of Brian's joke. Suck, 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 suck. Is that really what you want? If that's not what you want, then you need to find a way to set your intent to the source, the universe, the Father, whatever you're fucking comfortable with. But you need to be very crystal fucking clear. Very clear. Yeah, but is it though? Is it, Tenchi? Is it really zero fucks given? That's what I thought when I first got it. But what I found out was the Fool's card number is actually 0 because it doesn't matter where it's at. It can be inserted in any positioning within the tarot card readings. 0 can exist anywhere within. It's not constrained within a numeric value. It's 0. It's also a very special number in metaphysical sense. It's the shape of the egg. It's also half of infinity. There's a lot of fun stuff that happens when you open your mind and you start to research. You start to look around at shit. And you start to say, you know what? We are far greater. We are far more important than these motherfuckers are saying we are. Because that's by design. They do not want you to know how amazing you are. And it's not even, some people say, well, I'm nothing. I'm a nobody. Well, you just said that. I am everything. I am important. I deserve everything that I work hard for. You know? What's up, Stalking? Nothing. You know, it's a conversation about setting a moral code for yourself. It's also a conversation about getting your mind right. It's a conversation about being very careful. We've been tricked and bamboozled all these years to think and act certain ways without understanding the ramifications of those actions. And good example, I did a video a couple of days ago where I was talking about prepping. In the early days when I was prepping because I thought I was going to save people in my life from an inevitable apocalypse, which is not bad. But the problem is I lived there. I was every day thinking about it, every day thinking about it, every day thinking about it. And the problem with that is that puts you in a survival mode mentality, and lots of chemicals were flooding my body every single day because of it. That's not good. That's the same as reliving a trauma over and over and over and over again. There's a lot of things that are in play, folks, that are designed to really fuck us up. And if you don't catch it and you don't realize the game and see what's going on, you're going to be affected by it. So my videos are designed now to basically help you prepare your mind to be positive and not be in a fearful stance. Everything should be from a position of strength, because that's what we have. Even alone, we have a tremendous amount of personal strength and will. My wife found this story There's this guy she watches on YouTube. I think he does stuff on Twitch too. But all he does is tell stories. He finds historical things of really amazing stuff, and he tells these stories. And sometimes a lot of them are scary, things like that. But one of these stories was about a guy who was a soldier. He got hurt. They were going to tell him, okay, you're done. He said, no, give me time. I'll walk again. And he made himself walk again. Then once he was walking again, they said, okay, we're going to give you a desk job. He was like, no, I don't want a desk job. So he went back into action. He went back into action. There was some other, spec ops that got trapped, and he was like, "Oh shit, we got to go get him." So he gets in with this helicopter that came back riddled with bullets, goes in to save these guys. Helicopter is getting shot. He jumps down in the jungle, lands right in the middle of enemies. He's running from them. They're blowing his ass up with hand grenades, and he's getting hit with bullets, but he keeps picking himself up, keeps going and getting guys. He gets guys. They get to a helicopter. They get him in a helicopter. Helicopter's taking off. That one gets blown up. Goes in, pulls guys out of fire. He's got bullets hitting him still more. He's got fragments from grenades in his ass and everything else. His face is all fucked up. He gets, fucked up over and over and over again. He finally gets some guys to cover. Gets another helicopter back in. He gets out. They get out. They think he's dead. Docs are sitting there looking at him. He's got so many holes in him, they don't even know where to fucking begin. They think he's dead. They throw a bag over him. They think he's done. He spits at him because that was the only thing he could do because his face had gotten shot too. And he survived. He died later from diabetes, years and years and years later, but that's beside the point. The point was his mindset was so powerful that he was like, fuck it. I am not letting these guys die. And incidentally, when he jumped into the jungle to go save those guys, he jumped in with nothing but a fucking knife. What do I know about Glenn Cunningham? I don't know. I'm not necessarily familiar with the name. And I don't know the guy's name either of that story I just told you about. But my wife was blown the fuck away to the point that she played it again for me to listen. And the whole time, my facial response as I'm listening to all the wounds that this guy is suffering, it's like this. Like, what the fuck? And he lived. Force of will. Think about that. Think about that. It wasn't this guy was some fucking guru. He wasn't some, metaphysical, magical fucking being. He was a human being with a force of will where he was like, fuck it. I am not going to let my guys fucking die. Let that sink in, guys. There are tons of examples of this. Tons. Oh, yeah, that boarding axe is awesome. It's out of sale. It's sold out, though, dude. That boarding axe is ridiculous, but it's sold out. That MDD plus one, that's one I wanted to get. The bounty knife is a big monstrous one. That's ridiculous. Yeah, I there's a couple of blades that I'm a big fan of. I want to check out. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that's it. I just wanted to do this real quick, guys. As always, my videos aren't very quick, but they cover a lot, and I'm going to keep on covering this stuff, and I'm going to give examples over and over and over again because I want you guys to have the best possible lives ever, and I can't give it to you. You guys have to take it. You guys have to create it. You have to say, this is what the fuck I want, okay? This is the one I want, and then go, He was the one that matched the 4-minute mile. Oh, is that, so he's the guy that broke it? The one that broke the record? And they said, oh, nobody could do it, and he did it? And then after that, everybody started doing it? That's my point. There are people that say, you know what, fuck it. I'm not going to live by these constraints. I'm going to actually do what I want to do. And that's what I want you guys to do. You know what I'm saying? All right, guys, that's going to be it for now. If you like it, please subscribe. Tell your friends far and wide. Until next time, motherfucker. Go out, ride. I have to do it all over again. My wife came in and gave me the receipt for the groceries that she just did. So, if you like it, please subscribe. Tell your friends far and wide. Until next time, motherfuckers, please be good to yourself, good to each other. Go out, live life to the fullest, ride the bus to the wheels fall off, have some visions, get some scars, find some love and all that shit. And I will see you motherfuckers next time. Edgar Cayce is another cool one, by the way. All right, guys, I'm out.